Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're with Comic DeeCee. DeeCee, how the hell are you?
Dude, I'm doing awesome.
Dude, thank you
Chicago.
so much. Dude, Chicago, baby. What's going on there? I was just there over Christmas, and it was 8 degrees.
Why? Why would he come to Chicago at Midwest middle of winter?
Dude, the family's there, man. It was Christmas,
Ah,
etc. Yeah, and then I come back, and it was 50 degrees in New York, and I was like, yes. This is why I
you
live
chose the
here.
right place.
So what's it like out there now? Is it warming up a little bit? It's not 8
It's
degrees anymore.
it's mild. It's cool on the outside. Like, I mean, here's the thing. I'm Canadian, so I'm technically supposed to be accustomed to the cold, right?
Okay.
So I'm Canadian from the waist up. From the waist down, I'm West Indian, and my testicles say otherwise. My testicles say, "Yo, bro, this is ass cold, man. What are you doing here? What the hell?"
I'm sure there's sponsorship deals there. Do you have product where you're putting like Manscaped and shit? Like, it was so surprising when I learned that like Manscaped is really all about the balls, and I'm like, can't our current like hair products do something about that? Like, are people really thinking about their ball hair or whatever?
Well, I guess someone tried Nair before. I said, nope, that's not going to cut it. That's let's rethink the way that we package our package.
Yeah, I think I put Icy Hot in that region one time just for shits and giggles, and it was the worst decision I ever made.
You must have been a teen, because
I
that's not an adult thing.
On the most sensitive part of my dick, and I was like, "Oh my lord, I'm going to die." But yeah, we're getting a little bit too blue. I don't know. You could work clean. Are you a clean comic or no?
I'm capable of, like, depending on the occasion. Like, if I'm at a person's 70th birthday party, which I was recently, I'm not going to drop the M-bomb, and I'm not going to talk about these testicles, right? You got to know your audience, right?
70, and so you did comedy for the 70-year-old, etc.
Okay,
all the 70-year-olds.
Well, no. Here's learning by experience. So I accepted a gig, private gig, good money, right? I couldn't turn it away during Christmas time. Because, hey, birthday party. My sister's turning 70. The age range of people that are there are going to be between 19 and 70. I'm like, great. I got a spectrum. Gig from hell. I'll tell you that. It was a gig from hell. So, but
like Icy Hot on the dick. The gig in front of the 70-year-olds and the 19-year-olds was different.
Yeah, I should have washed my hands before I touched myself. So I showed up, and most of the people were of the age of the birthday person. So mental note: if you're going to do a birthday party or whatever event, understand that most of the guests are going to be the people of the same age, the person having the birthday. Ouch. Yeah. And on top of that, they're old school Chicago, like, Black folk, old school Chicago. Yeah, I'm fun. They're my people, man. But, they're very formal.
Oh, so what'd you have to do with your act?
It's okay. I had to adapt it. Like, there's certain words I had to, substitute in between. Like, I had a joke about being a chiropractor who also happened to be in a strip club by accident, because I don't do strip clubs, but I got pulled into one anyway. So I kind of mistook or switched out the word mucked up for fucked up. So that's
are you a chiropractor?
Yeah, that's my training. I've been doing that for 15, 16 years.
Chiropractor in the strip club? How the fuck do you think about that? Because you're like, well, I'm a chiropractor. I've gone into strip clubs. It's not that hard for you because you're a chiropractor. But for me, I'm just like, how did somebody come up with this? That's amazing.
Well, I thought about this joke way back when, a couple of years ago, when I was in Singapore. I was like, man, this is an amazing bit, but I couldn't use that in that country because there's no strip clubs in Singapore, so there's no context. So I was sitting on that for like a couple of years until after COVID, when COVID happened, I have returned to Chicago and then started getting back into comedy again, and then this is one of my strongest bits actually, is just talk about being reluctantly pulled into a strip club, because I say reluctant because I'm a chiropractor.
Yeah, and because they're just always doing body contortion, etc. Now I think chiropractor has something to say about that.
Well, here's the thing about this: like, if I'm at the front of the stage and everybody else is throwing stacks on stage, the dancer saying, shake that ass, make that ass clap. I'm inclined to look at the stage going, is that dancer, does she have scoliosis? I swear that's scoliosis. Right? I swear. I'm waving a $50 bill, not for her to come to lap dance me, but to coach her, because I want to help her, right? So that's
but I love that too, because you're like, I had to move back to the United States to be able to tell this joke. That's how great this joke was. I had to move countries.
Yeah, it's understand the universality of certain humor. So it works well in the United States, doesn't necessarily work in Malaysia or Singapore or Japan. So just understanding comedy from a global perspective. It's been a trip so far.
But DeeCee Global, we follow him everywhere. He's DeeCee Comedy on Instagram and on Twitter. DeeCee Comedy as well. And so I'm going to get you a follow because I'm going to retweet all your funny stuff. That's what I do with the former guests. Until you were on this podcast, you weren't that to me. But with DeeCee, with DeeCee, it's like now it's like I can share the chiropractor in the strip club. And one of I have the comedians give me some topics, and I love it because then I could choose a couple. And one of the ones you said was how teaching your kids how to cuss properly. Now tell me how the fuck. Should you be teaching kids to cuss, and what's a proper way to cuss?
Okay, first of all, okay, kids are gonna hear a cuss regardless if they hear it from home or not. Like we're pretty strict, not strict, but strict from home. Very, I wouldn't say religious. I mean, we grew up in a certain faith, right? But I know full well when they go outside of school, she's gonna hear anything and everything, and she knows I'm a comedian, and she's heard my stuff on YouTube. Like she's
make it clap.
16 now.
You heard make it clap. She heard the strip club joke.
Yeah, she knows everything now. So like I just put it full out, and she knows that, hey, dad's comedian, and what I do on stage, like that's a character on stage. And I say crazy shit on stage that I will never say at home. So she understands that delineation.
Yeah.
But she still does not know how to swear. She still gets embarrassed, right? I know full well that sooner or later she's going to be able to, she's going to be in a setting where she has to call somebody a dick face or, a motherfucker. And you can say, baby girl, you gotta soften up the R's. You gotta drop the R. You can't say motherfucker, or it's motherfucker. She's like saying that.
Dick face is funny. Dick face, like an awkward person saying dick face for the first time is hilarious.
Well, she knows how to burn. She's real good at roasting.
Oh, okay.
But to get her to the next level, to get her to be bully proof, it's really good cuss words. Just to, just some good zingers that tie with some English cussing with some American cussing, and using the right vernacular, the right context. There's an art to it.
And do it with confidence. You got to do it with confidence. And so you got to practice. You got to let her practice at home, man. You let her practice. If not, you're clipping her wings, man.
Dude, she practices in the car with me, not at home, not with moms around. All right, I can't get out of that doghouse, but in the car we get some heart to heart talks, but this is bullshit, right? You know what they're talking about school is bullshit. So yeah, Dad.
I mean, what's great though is it'd be so funny to see that on a video, but then you'd be outing yourself with your wife, like getting her practicing cuss words with her dad outside of the earshot of her mom would just be so funny. I would totally love to see somebody awkward with dick face, and then by the end of the session, rolling off that motherfucking piece of shit. That really would just be so funny, but you can't do it. Otherwise the mom's going to kill you.
I think when she turns 18, it's fair game. Because I know full well by 18, she's heard everything and seen everything. She rides a public school bus. All right. Yeah. There's nothing that she hasn't heard that I haven't said that she hasn't heard already. Right?
Yeah.
I know full well.
Yeah, and especially sex stuff too. I mean, I guess it's the same way with, teaching your kids about sex. If you're not doing it early enough, they're going to get the teaching elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: like media and TV, the internet, they're going to beat us to it. Unfortunately, like it's the moment they give a kid a phone, assume that they have full reign on everything. You can have your best intention as a parent. Because listen, I'm going to put blocks on my kid's phone. Good. But you're not putting blocks on other kids' phone.
the friend's older brother or sister has got the phone open.
Yeah. So
you don't got this shit on your phone. Let me show you this shit on my phone.
Can't believe your parents can't let you watch Matrix. That's rated R back in 20 years ago. But I know full well that she's going to be exposed to this stuff. So might as well kind of preemptively talk to her about it and be mature about it. Like have, not be like, oops, I can't believe I can't say that. Like if you're gonna say motherfucker, call somebody a motherfucker, call somebody an ass nugget, right? That's a good burn, an ass nugget. And if you get burned at school for that, tell the teacher to call me. Now I'm gonna tell the teacher, well, was Billy an ass nugget? Does he look like one? Right. Before you suspend my daughter for call him one. Is he an ass nugget?
Oh yeah, Kevin Hart had a bit about that where it's so funny. Like what the mom told Kevin Hart to pass on something to the teacher. Yeah. The mom was, the teacher did something like, tell your parent this. And the parent was like, you tell the teacher this. And it was so funny to see. But I mean, I guess the bigger question is what somebody looks like nude or whatever. It's not that important. Like, it's almost like you have to teach her the larger concepts of like, you know, consent when it comes to sex and stuff like that, like, and or how not to be, you know, sexist or something. And is it, are you concerned that anything in your act about the strip club, even if it might be a little bit blue, like were you careful on stage to make sure you were not denigrating to women? Because I would think that your
Yes,
daughter
yes.
would be able to pick up on that even if you're playing a character.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because here are the things that the character, like that particular joke on stage, I'm in a fish out of water. Like I know full well that I should not be there because I'm not the person who's hooping and hollering like, yo, make the last dance. I'm like, listen, this person could be a client, right?
Yeah,
All the dancers could be clients. They have back pain, they have neck pain, right? Right. They're wearing clear heels, which are not ergonomic, right? Sooner or later, they're going to need orthotics, right? Um,
so you were
there's
careful
actually,
to kind of make, because you knew that at some point your kids would be listening to this stuff.
yeah. So, I mean, at this age, at 15, 16, she is, I believe she's mature enough to distinguish, hey, this is the character versus this is, real life, right?
Yeah.
Like, when we watch a movie about, we watch a Silence of the Lambs, watch a movie, that's not real life. That's okay. There's fiction, there's reality type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like having a parent who's an actor, and the actor happens to be the guy who does the movie It, right? Daddy, are you a clown, Dad? Like, can you imagine if that kid cannot separate clowns from their father? Yeah. So I figured that this is the age, and we got to have mature talks, especially in the industry, mature talks with their families about, hey, listen, what I say and do on stage is a embellishment, is a character. It's not reality. There's some little hints of truth, a little bit of spice elements of truth, but more hyperbole, like tons more hyperbole.
And some of it is a little bit inappropriate just to make people, chuckle a little bit.
Like
the embellishment could include a little, maybe certain things that I would say, you'd say in anger, but you shouldn't say in polite company. And I guess, absolutely. When you're talking about like polite conduct and stuff like that, one of your other things here is that, ending arguments with a woman. Now tell me, if I'm trying to end an argument with a woman, should I just kind of say, I'm sorry, or should I say you're right? Or do those things not end arguments? These are things I'm taking directly off his topic list.
Dude, take notes, all right?
Yes,
because
teach me. I don't got a wife, man. You got to teach me, bro.
After 21 years of marriage, I just finally figured out that the argument continues even after you say I'm sorry, right? Just the topic's not closed. Saying, because as guys, just for the sake of when we get in an argument and going around in circles, realize, I'm not going to win. This is not going anywhere. Let's just wave the white flag and concede.
Yeah.
Like say, I apologize. I was wrong. You're right about this point. Let's just agree to disagree.
That one's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Let's agree to disagree. It's like, no, man, we are going to agree at some point.
But here's what happens afterwards. You say, I'm sorry. And I realized this the other day. Her response is, no, I get that. But you understand my point, right? You understand? I was like, I just waved the white flag. I said, I'm sorry. Like, I just, can we go on? Can we move on?
She really needs you to agree with her, right?
Yeah, that's
essentially what she's saying. Like, I need
she
you
wants
to
consensus.
say,
They want
because they know you have to move forward as kind of a united front against the kids, at least.
Do you know what? This was even about something, not even about the kids, something benign, like, dance is not a sport, something ridiculous, right? But the fact is that it's the battle. Women enjoy the battle. We want to get the war done and over with. Like, we're waving the white flag saying, listen, can we finish the war? I concede. I want to protect my village. I want to protect my people. I want to make sure that no more damage is done to my homeland. And the person who won the war is like, now we got to raise this shit. I got to Hiroshima, everybody. Like, you guys know who's in charge. Like scorched earth. I'm going to scorch this. I'm going to scorch this earth. Like, yeah, you need to know I'm in charge. I'm going to take your soul. I'm going to take your ego. I'm going to take your dignity, and just eviscerate it, so that in case it rises up, you remember exactly how this pain feels about losing a war with me. That's what women think about when they're doing arguments.
Do you think it's that? I mean, or is there something more like, I don't feel united with this guy if he's thinking this thing that I think is totally wrong. And then when you come around to her side, she's like, oh, there we go. We're a couple again. Like, is there anything like that? Because yours sounds pretty evil. Like the woman.
Yeah, mine is pretty dark.
I need to fuck him up the butt. Yeah.
Yeah, mine is dark. Yours
is dark. Dark. Yeah.
Well, there's ego involved, those guys. And I my ego's on the line sometimes, and usually I think that I can protect my ego by just conceding and saying sorry and admitting fault. Just so we can move on, right? Yeah. No, that's not enough. Like, now you got to be late for work, right? Now you got to miss the game because you're gonna finish the conversation. See, that's the That's the salt on the wound.
Yeah, that can be a little bit evil. Like I would think that maybe there could be an inclination to be like, all right, well, his friends are taking priority today. At the very least, I can kind of chip away at that by making him late to this game. Like, all right, like I'm finally agreeing to let him go to this game, but at the very least, he's gonna be fucking late to that game.
Yes, I gotta go. Listen, we gotta finish this discussion. Baby girl, I'm on the toilet. Can I take a shit in private? No, we gotta table this. We gotta eat this. We're at a funeral. I know we're at a funeral. Listen, we got to finish the discussion.
We got to finish this shit. So, I mean, so what's the non-evil way though? Like, is there a non-evil spin on that? Like, why do they have to, why do they, I mean, is it because they want to come together? Like, is it really that bad to disagree about something? Like, why is agree to disagree the worst thing that they could hear? And we're generalizing, of course.
Yeah, of course. But, it's just, there's no winners and losers, right? It's
right.
Like, some people are competitive. Some people are like, hey, I just like playing the game. I'm a person kind of like, hey, I like to just show up and play the game. Yeah, there's winners and losers, but I just want to be a participant in this game.
You're like, no,
but
you need to recognize who won and who lost.
Exactly. There's winners and losers, which is the main difference between sports and dance, right? Sport has winners and losers. Dance has no winners and losers. You enjoy dance, you're athletic, but it's not a sport. You're not going to see someone lose, right?
But I love, like, it took you 21 years. And so, kind of how is the marriage until now? And now that you realized it, like, are you going to just, yes or to death, be like, yeah, I agree with you. Like, she'll be able to see it's insincere. She'll always get you to kind of, all right, yeah, I disagree. And then finally come around to agreement 3 months later. So at what point, how did you learn this? Did you learn it the hard way? Is this stuff making its way into your act? Like, can you talk about your wife on stage?
Do you know what? I do it very rarely. Maybe this is going to be the first joke that I'll bring my wife on stage. This actually, it took a long time, right?
Okay.
Because it took her a while to really accept and understand it. And understand comedy is not just like a passing fad. It's not a hobby. It's a potential vocation, side hustle, eventually main hustle. But it's a long game. So
yeah, she
really didn't understand that, but it took a long time to respect it.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, I don't understand. I don't expect a spouse to fully understand what it means to be a comedian and the struggle and the strife and just the time it takes, but at least respect the hustle. Right. Yeah. So it took her time to get around to that. But no, like, for most of my life, I've been passive aggressive. It took me a long time to come out of my shell.
And to be really aggressive.
Well,
to be plain old aggressive.
Well, after 40, like, you get to a certain point where you're like, I don't give a fuck. Right. Like, you have a certain era in terms of, I'm going to say something and I'm going to care so much about you. I don't care what you think about me. So when I reached that threshold, my comedy changed. And then I had the free reign to be more authentic, open on stage. And it really, it flipped the switch. And that happened when I was in Singapore. That started to happen in Singapore.
Why'd it happen in Singapore?
Well, Singapore was the part of my life when I worked remotely. Whereas I was separated from my family. I chose to work abroad overseas on a work assignment as a chiropractor. Great opportunity, but it was a challenge because I was apart from my family. But I knew football was going to make some money, right?
Yeah.
Long story short, that 2-year contract turned into 4 years, and then of course extra strain. I was working a lot, and then finally I had to say, listen, I needed an outlet. Yeah. And then I've refound comedy after a 21-year hiatus. Comedy. So I rediscovered comedy in Singapore. It's like, you know what? It felt good. I had the butterflies. I had that angst. But then when I got off stage, it's like, yo, this is freeing. So when I did that, and before I got into that, I did talk to my wife from abroad. I said, listen, I'm going to do comedy, but I need your okay that I'm going to be saying stuff authentically. I'm going to be cussing. I'm going to be using words I don't normally use at home, but it's the context of comedy. Could he be okay with that? So when I got that okay from her, then I was able to be more transparent, authentic on stage and just be more free.
And have you revisited that? Have you said, let's get this on tape, your agreement that I can be authentic on stage? Or have you kind of...
I regret that I didn't.
So it's opened back up occasionally. You're like, this is me being authentic. So you're like, what are you saying that shit on stage for? You're like, this is me being authentic. It's like, oh, well, you should probably bring this stuff up with me at home first, right? Like, is there any of that? It's like you kind of expressing a resentment or something. And you're like, you should have told me too, because then you could be authentic in both places.
Well, fortunately, I haven't really crossed any lines yet. Or like, I've been cognizant about, all right, if I'm going to talk about kids, I'm going to be talking about it in a way that's relatable to other parents that you can't deny. Like, if I'm going to be talking about marriage, I'm going to be talking about in general, that she can't deny the fact that women like to argue and like to get the upper hand. Like, there's certain banners I know I can work within, but then anything intimate, I I don't need to pull into my act on my stage. That's actually, there's only one bit. There's only one bit that's somewhat intimate. That's because she's a chiropractor too.
Bring
Yeah,
her right into the strip club, man. I got to see a video of you two in the strip club, both being chiropractors. Like if we see that, will you post that to DeeCee Comedy on Instagram or Twitter?
dude, I probably will. If I end up in an establishment, a gentleman's establishment,
Yeah.
and you see me in that establishment, I'm going to have a business card in hand just so that you know that I'm following up with my intention. Listen, this tax write-off. This is marketing, baby girl. Daddy's trying to earn a living. Put food on the table. Do you have $1 bills?
I'm doing this as a research bit, honey. I'm doing this.
Research.
We're doing a video for my hilarious joke that you know about. Now let's no, just forget you saw me in the strip club. I was doing it for research.
Don't mind the glitter, baby girl. Don't mind the glitter.
Don't mind the glitter. We follow them everywhere at DeeCee Comedy, but also DeeCeeComedy.com. And do you have any shows coming up in Singapore?
Yes, I do. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes.
There?
I am going back for a Chinese New Year. So I'm doing a tour. It's called Chicken, Waffles, and Durian Tour, right? So I'm hitting up Singapore,
right? It's the
durian is the smelly fruit, the nastiest fruit.
Oh,
the most Asian thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely regional. It's definitely a regional reference. Okay. So Singapore first. I'm going to be at the Lemon Stand on the 20th and the 21st, 2 nights there. I'm also going to be at East Coast Comedy, which is 2 main clubs in Singapore right now. So I'm going to be doing that on the 20th, 21st, in the middle of Chinese New Year. So if you're hearing this, you live abroad, dude, show up, man. Love to hear get your support, get some love, some laughs while you escape family. And then I'll be in Malaysia, which is Penang, hitting the stage with some heavy comics there from Penang in Malaysia, and then Bangkok. So I'm gonna wrapping up my stories in Bangkok. Yeah. So
dude, you are just gonna earn your chops, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you doing it just everywhere, and the fact that you can find an outlet, abroad, be like, dude, I'm busting out here. I've been away from my family 2 to 4 years. I need to get on stage and let go of this angst. That's such a great kind of comedy. It's like your second comedy, it's like your second origin story or something. The fact that you need it as an outlet, that is just so cool.
Thank you for mentioning an origin story. I couldn't really pinpoint the word that best describes like how that started, but really, you're right. It is an origin story. I never knew that I had one. So thank you for attaching.
It took me a while to find it, but I found it. And then, but no, here on Instagram, this is so funny. If you go to DeeCee Comedy on Instagram, I crack jokes and spines. That's DeeCee. You're a chiropractor in a strip club. DeeCee, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, appreciate it, Brian. Listen, peace out. Staying connected here, and I love your shows, brother. Keep it up.